Hey guys, Coffin Skate here, and I would be doing a great disservice to Akira Toriyama for not making a video on him, even though I'm just one person, but point being. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who've been living under a rock, I should say, Akira Toriyama passed away recently, and once again, for those of you who who've been living under a rock, Akira Toriyama is responsible for stuff like Dragon Ball Z, just Dragon Ball in general, um, and many other projects that have been very influential. Well, okay, specifically Dragon Ball is like the most influential project he's done, but he's also done other stuff from like Sandland, and some video games as well. And I kind of wanted to talk about, my experience with his works, and I don't have much experience with his works outside of, or like when it comes to Dragon Ball, I should say, the main thing he's most well known for. But of course, I have enjoyed some of the stuff he has worked on um, over the years, and I kind of want to talk about that. So, of course, starting off with something Dragon Ball related. I've played a couple Dragon Ball games over the years. I do remember watching. I do remember like a friend of ours back when I lived in like a trailer park. A friend of ours would always come by with his PlayStation 2, and one of the games I remember watching him play was Dragon Ball. It was one of the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games, and those were really fun. I don't think I ever played them myself, but I always had fun playing them. Or always had fun watching them, whether it was watching him play it with my cousin and whatnot. But I always had a lot of fun watching him play the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games. But there was one Dragon Ball Z game I did play as a kid, and that was Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors for the Game Boy Advance. Uh, from my understanding, I could be wrong on this, but from my understanding, this is actually an Arc Sys fighting game. But yeah, this is a. Let's see if I can actually get it to focus. Whatever. So yeah, this is a fighting game on the Game Boy Advance that was actually a lot of fun. It had like tag mechanics in there as well, and I don't really know the ins and outs of this game in particular, but I do remember this being quite fun. I had a lot of fun playing this as a kid. I always picked Trunks on my team, and then I don't know, whatever combination of random characters, what have you. But this was just a really fun, sort of fighting game that I remember playing a lot of as a kid. Um, and then like outside of this game here, in terms of other Dragon Ball stuff that he's made, that I've worked on, or that I've played, that he's worked on. In terms of like the games, I've also played a little bit of Dragon Ball Xenoverse, and that was Dragon Ball Xenoverse was one I was actually pretty interested in. Even though I hadn't really watched much of the anime itself, Dragon Ball Xenoverse just seems like a really fun game. I didn't really play it a whole lot. I do remember my brother renting it for the Xbox One. He played it religiously. He eventually ended up getting a copy of it. But yeah, he played it a lot on the Xbox One, and he played it religiously. And then Xenoverse 2 came out. He played that religiously. I didn't end up playing it a whole lot. I did eventually get a copy of it myself after watching actually Dragon Ball Superhero, which I should mention. I have watched both the Dragon Ball Super movies. There's Superhero and Dragon Ball Super Broly, and I've watched both of them. Superhero I actually watched in the theater, whereas Broly I actually watched like at home, and they were both fucking badass movies. So much so that like I actually wanted to, like, after watching Superhero, I went on to pick up Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 from GameStop for like $20, and I had it. I hadn't gotten that far into it, but it's definitely one I'd like to play more of, especially after the passing of Akira Toriyama. Um, but you know, um, and also of course I have watched the anime itself for Dragon Ball Z, and I've always had fun watching that. But yeah, Dragon Ball Superhero, Dragon Ball Super Broly were badass movies. If you haven't watched them, they're absolutely worth checking out. Um, but oh, I also did get Dragon Ball Fighters at one point. That was also quite fun. I didn't end up playing a whole lot, but it was it's a fun game to play and a fun game to watch as well. So I know that game also got rollback fairly recently, and unfortunately the rollback netcode for that is pretty ass from what I've heard. But point being, I do like the Dragon Ball um, stuff that he's put out, that he's worked on and whatnot. I'm not sure how much of a hand he had in Xenoverse, and in like with Xenoverse and Dragon Ball Fighters and whatnot, but I enjoyed those. But there are two games that he made that he did the artwork for that I really enjoyed. I'm gonna start off with this one. It's a RPG that came out on the Xbox 360, and that is Blue Dragon. Um, this game was I remember getting this for $10 back in the day, used. I want to say it was like 2014 when I got this. Yeah, 2014 because I remember I got this not too long before I got my PlayStation 3, and I remember playing the demo for this a while back prior to getting this, and I actually enjoyed the demo. And I remember watching the anime, but I have vague memories of it. Um, so I ended up getting this for like not too long before my birthday, and I decided to pick this up, start playing through it, and this is a really solid RPG. Honestly, it's still only on the Xbox 360, unfortunately, but it's a this was a really cool RPG. It had like a it was directed by Hironobu Sakaguchi, and Nobuo Uematsu also did the music for this game. Akira Toriyama did the character designs, and this is a great game. At least in my opinion, I really enjoyed this. The story, looking back on it, is quite cliche, but it does have some interesting mechanics, and that it has like the shadows, which are kind of like the personas. If that makes any sort of sense. Um, it has some cool mechanics as well, but the character designs in this game are mainly what I want to highlight here. The character designs, the enemy designs, and whatnot. Just Akira Toriyama went just with the artwork and the character designs in this game. I thought were pretty damn good, and that's you know aside from Dragon Ball, of course, he's also done character designs for other stuff as well. This being one of them. And I just remember having a lot of fun playing through this. So it was a pretty solid RPG. Not my favorite by any means, but um, this was a solid RPG. He did a great job with the character designs in this game. Of course, he's also done Dragon Quest as well, which I have yet to really dive into that series. I really would like to though, but his artwork is very good in that game as well. But the main game that he's done that I absolutely loved, I never ended up finishing it, unfortunately. Um, but the main game he has done that I absolutely fell in love with, and unfortunately I don't have a physical copy of it because a copy of it on the Super Nintendo is really expensive, and even the DS version is getting expensive. But Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger, I actually remember watching Some Ordinary Gamers. He was streaming the game, and I thought that game looked pretty cool, and I decided to try it out on a Super Nintendo emulator at the time, and I also want to do a video talking about emulation, which I'll probably record after this one. Um, but yeah, so I tried out Chrono Trigger on a Super Nintendo emulator, and that was also around when I was really starting to get into that style of RPG, turn-based RPGs, and I ended up just falling in love with it. And of course, the story was very interesting. The battle system was so cool. I really liked there was how like characters how you could use like two or three characters for a spell and whatnot. It was actually really cool. Um, but yeah, the story, the soundtrack was fantastic, and the combat was a lot of fun. But of course, his character designs in that game were incredible. From Chrono himself to just I'm trying to remember the names. It's been a long time since I played Chrono Trigger, but those character designs are timeless, and just Akira Toriyama's character designs and just his artwork just to me is timeless. There's a reason. It's one of the I would assume it's one of the reasons why Dragon Ball popped off as well as it did. Especially with Dragon Ball being like one of the most beloved anime of all time. Honestly, I don't think anime would be where it's at were it not for Dragon Ball. I don't, were it not for Akira Toriyama. Honestly, um, I don't think uh, a lot of beloved anime that exists now, whether it's Bleach, I'd say like the big three, One Piece, uh, or if I get this wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong, but One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto, those probably wouldn't exist without Akira Toriyama. My favorite anime, Demon Slayer, wouldn't exist without Akira Toriyama, possibly. Stuff like, oh, I can think of some anime off the top of my head. I don't know. I'm now drawing a blank, but um, you know, from is also from my understanding that he also, due to his passing, he left. He still had like some projects he was working on. One of them actually being an RPG. I was looking forward to Sandland, which I don't know when that's supposed to be coming out off the top of my head. I can't remember, but Sandland a was an RPG that was being developed. That's also based off a manga that looked pretty cool. It was being published by Bandai Namco, and I was really looking forward to it. And I will definitely probably be getting it when it comes out. It takes place in like a desert and stuff like that. But of course, his character designs are still there, and yeah, I was looking forward to that, and I might have to just pick it up when it comes out to honor Akira Toriyama. But you know, just basically all in all, what I'm trying to say here is, you know, with the passing of Akira Toriyama, we really lost a legend recently, and I know it's been a couple days since then, but I still feel like I should have at least made a video talking about it, like as best as I could. I know there are others who have a better understanding of Akira Toriyama's works and whatnot, but I would be lying to myself if I said I didn't enjoy any of his projects or anything he's worked on, because I really did. And you know, like I said, I would be an idiot to if I said that Akira Toriyama didn't have a huge impact on the anime industry or just all industries in general, because Akira Toriyama, without him, I don't think any industry would be where it is today, whether it's anime, video games, and whatnot. There's a lot of influence from Akira Toriyama's works in so many things. I mean, shit. Whether you like the character or not, Silver the Hedgehog from the Sonic series was from my understanding was inspired by Trunks from Dragon Ball. Um, and that's just one example. So I'm sure if you looked through so many different video games, movies, books, what have you, you'd be able to see some influence from Akira Toriyama and Dragon Ball in there. So, especially in anime. So, yeah, that's it. I don't really have much else to say other than rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. We absolutely lost a legend, and he may be gone, but his works will live on for the rest of humanity. So there you have it. That's all I really gotta say. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, see you all later.